Hello, everybody, and welcome to Gay Talk. This show is open to all, regardless of sexuality or gender. I hope for listener interaction, but if you don't call in, I'll be happy to provide current events and news related to the GLBTQIA community. I also hope we can laugh, have a little fun, and keep the negativity to a minimum.
Good morning, everybody. Yeah, man. Here it is, Roundtable Day. Yes, it is Roundtable Day. Oh, good morning, Jab. Good morning, Mark. Good morning, Dale. Here it is, Sunday, January 18th, 2009. Today's the first start of the inauguration stuff. And, oh, man, what a day, what a day, what a day. Welcome to the round table, our first round table, our Sunday morning round table. And I already got Jab calling in on the line. Good morning, Jab. Let me get you in here. There you go, Jab. And Mark, Mark's going to use the click to talk. He'll be calling in a second. Mark, at the top of the page, there is a click to talk button. That'll open up a pop-up window for you, and you'll have to type in your a name and click on OK, and a couple little clicks you'll have to do that to get that click to talk going, and then click connect, and it'll get you in here on click to talk. And what's the matter, Tron? What are you saying yuck for? Good morning to the guest in the room. Okay, let's see here. Now, you know, I got some good news that I'm going to throw out in a second. But first, I got to talk about Dale's show last night. You know, Dale was upset about this thing with the inauguration. And hey, no problem, Dale. No problem on the cursing. You were talking from your heart. You were upset about all that stuff, and I'm with you. You know, there's, according to the article I read, there's 6,600 homeless people in Washington, D.C., and that they're all being basically thrown out of what they know as a home, a place in the streets, you know, where they live, and because it's on the parade route or whatever, and you know that there's only 2,200 beds available for those 6,600 people, and most of them don't want to go to their homes because of the problems. Okay, wait a second. Tron's coming in here. Hold on just a second now. I mean, we can't have Tron coming in without putting up a little fanfare. Okay, I bring you Mr. Charn Parker. You're on the air.
Oh, to hell with Caesar. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't mean to interrupt this thing with Dale. That's very interesting. I'm getting there. Why don't they, double up or something like that? But I'm laying back. I don't feel too good this morning, Tom. I was laying down, and Chuck comes in and says, he says, Charn, he says, aren't you supposed to see Tom's show? He said, who? He said, Tom, he's got a show on today, doesn't he? He says, I said, oh, God. Anyway, I'm here, but I'm not going to be at the monitor, guy. But I'll be listening. Okay.
Yeah, but you were going to share with us some of the stuff.
Well, we have what, an hour?
We have
hour
2
and
hours.
a half. How long do you have this morning?
2 hours this morning.
Okay. Eventually, my stomach will calm down. I'll be able to speak.
Okay. Well, you let me know when you got time, and because we want to hear about because I was interested in all that stuff you told me yesterday about how they're closing all the bridges and roads.
Yeah, well, they have started closing today. They started closing for something that's going on. I think, well, bans or something. Yeah, I'll get my little head together and my little brain together, and somewhere within the next hour, and I'll time it So it goes with what something is saying. And I will come and tell you all this wonderful news about how they're closing down Washington for this inaugural. First time in the history of the inauguration that is being done.
Okay.
Well, anytime Washington shuts down, it's usually a good thing because they can't do anything when they're not in session.
Who is that?
That's Jab.
Oh. Well, that's true. I mean, it's not shutting down. It's just that every bridge into Washington is being closed. Never happened in the history of the inauguration or anything else. And if you want to go into Washington to go to work, you either take the metro very early in the morning or you walk. How about that? And we're very upset about that. How are they going to get to work? It's never, ever happened before. So I have some wonderful, great things to tell you about Washington, D.C. a little bit later. And so right now I'm going to go back to bed. No, I'll be over here in the lounge chair listening. And don't anybody type to me because I love you all, but I won't see it, and you'll think I'm rude if I don't answer back. Well, no, I'm over in the lounge chair taking some more pills. Talk to y'all later. Morning, Tom. Okay. Good morning, Jab.
Good morning.
Yeah, Tron, don't worry about that. I'll tell everybody that you're away from the monitor. If anyone comes in and says, hello, Tron, I'll be sure and tell them that you're sitting back in your lazy boy, not watching a monitor. But yeah, he's right about that because, I mean, even when I read this article about the homeless being displaced during this event, that they're even not even, usually they have shuttles that take them out to the places where they can sleep and whatnot, and those shuttles aren't even going to be running because of the street closures and everything.
Well, this inauguration is a big deal, more so obviously than all the others. This is going to be like the most expensive or biggest inauguration ever. I mean, it's a huge freaking deal. He wants to announce his presence with authority. There's no doubt about that.
Oh yeah, and they're concerned about it. I got to throw out the good news here that I got some really, really, really good news yesterday that brightened my day. In fact, if I wouldn't have had this good news yesterday, I would have went ballistic last night in Dale's show. You go around the conservative shows, Jab. Have you heard of this guy? What was his name? Paul, some middle initial, Wagner.
Wagner?
Yeah, Paul Wagner.
I know a Paul Cordier, and he has a brother, but I don't know a Wagner.
Yeah, he was in Dale's show. Dale was doing a special show last night about the homeless and, what all this inauguration stuff is doing to them. And it was kind of shocking. But
well, what happened? This guy, from what I can tell in the chat, it says he apparently pissed some people off.
He pissed a lot of people off. Well, he came in the room, talking about how, it's not the government's, job to take care of the homeless, and, even though the government's the one that's displacing them for the event. And he came in talking about how if you look into our history historically, that our unemployment rate isn't so bad. And, of course, I looked up that it's the highest it's been in 14 years. And he didn't care about that. He says, we need to go back to history and ancient history. And I'm going, who cares about ancient history? We're living in today, But, man, he just said a lot of things, that upset a lot of people.
I think the thing is that from what you said, there's not a ton I disagree with him on, except for as far as, the government should not be displacing homeless people and then not, giving them a place to stay if they're shutting everything down. But I think what it is, I consider myself sort of a conservative diplomat. I come over to shows that aren't traditionally conservative areas, and I come over and talk, and, I try and be, very ambassador-like, and it just sounds like this guy doesn't sound that far off from what I think, but I think he probably said it in ways that, just rubbed everyone the wrong way.
Well, it was obvious that was his whole purpose for being in the room, is to rub everybody the wrong way. He was just there to antagonize.
Well, if he was being a troll, I mean, there's nothing there's nothing I can say to defend that. There's no excuse for that.
There really wasn't. I mean, that was his whole purpose, even, anyway. Yeah, I don't want to get too much into it because that's, really got my blood boiling, that guy did last night. I mean, if he would have been in my room, it would have been my show, I would have banned him. But Dale, it fuels the fire. I think Dale had like 20-some-odd people in that damn show last night. It was, there was a lot of people in there. They were also talking about the thing between Israel and Palestine, with all that going on.
Yeah.
So, they touched a lot of topics. But Dale got really, really upset. Man, he was cussing. And
yeah, he still seems kind of angry.
Yeah, Dale was highly upset last night. I mean, man, he was yelling and screaming, and even that one Paul guy was like, "Hey, calm down, dude," and I was like, "No, go, Dale, go," I mean, he got everybody going, man. I think everybody's blood pressure went up in Dale's show last night.
He didn't ban him or anything, or he didn't ban him?
No, he let the guy stay in there the whole time. Dale does that. I've even seen religious people come in there that, start talking nasty about gays, and religion and blah, blah, blah. And Dale lets them stay in there. He lets them call in on the phone. He lets them say their piece, and puts up with them. He puts up with stuff that I would never put up with.
Well, I got to respect that because, a lot of people in a lot of different chat rooms are way too quick to, like personally in my chat room, I never ban anyone because you have your own block feature. Everyone does. If you don't want to hear what that person says, you can just block them.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have to get the room manager to kick them out. So it's more on an individual. It's more on an individual basis. If you don't want to hear them, that's fine. Just block them. But I'm not going to do it because I'm not going to, I'm not going to censor anyone on my show, as it were. But when they're talking to a room full of people who have them blocked, they'll eventually get the message and leave.
Right. Well, I usually do that too. But in this room, especially with the title Gay Talk, I expect people that come in here to be respectful towards the gay community. And if they can't do that, then they need to go elsewhere. As far as I'm concerned, it's like a gay bar. You wouldn't walk into a gay bar and start screaming and yelling at people negative things, about gays. I mean, you would get your ass kicked. So, and that's what's going to happen here, too. If someone comes into this room and starts bashing gays, they will be thrown out. I've only done it twice so far, but I won't hesitate, and I'm rather quick on the trigger. Anyway,
right.
That's just me. That's just me. This is a gay-friendly place. This is a gay-safe place, and I'm not going to have people coming in and bashing gays. Then so be it. That's just me. Okay, we got Mark on the line now. I think Mark made it. Mark, you there?
I am here, Tom. Hello.
Yeah, there you are.
Yeah, I'm here. My technician had to help me with the whiz-bang thing I have on this thing, so I am here, and hopefully you can hear me and I can hear you.
All right. I can hear you.
Okay, good.
Yep. I can hear you too, Mark, so it's all working.
Well, I'm on the East Coast, so thank you, Tom, for inviting me to the show. It's good to be here.
Yeah, Mark, go ahead and tell everybody a little bit about yourself if you want. Kind of introduce yourself. We're glad to have you.
Currently sitting in Raleigh, North Carolina. I work locally with a BP gas food mart operation here in Raleigh. I really don't know what else to say. Skinny white guy who's 43 years old. I've been diagnosed with my status from last July. I'm trudging through life the best I know how right at the moment. So everybody just calls me Mark. HIV.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, HIV. Ironically enough, excuse me, my doctor had given me a blood test. I had gone in. I was actually feeling kind of sickly and was sleeping a lot more than I really wanted to. Went in to see my doctor. He gave me a blood test, called me back a couple of weeks later and said, I've got some news I will need for you to come in and talk to me about it. I said, sure. Got into the doctor's office, sat me down, said that I had somewhere along the way, probably maybe 6 months, a year ago, which I didn't realize, had contracted HIV. And I was not really devastated by the news, but I was kind of numb, like being, batted out of the, left field someplace over the wall, and really not knowing, where to go or who to talk to, or so I kind of like walked around for a day or two thinking, okay, well, my first reaction was, my God, I now have something I can't get rid of. I have to find myself a cure. The doctor recommended me some medication. I was on it, off of it, on it, and it basically made me sicker. I wasn't, really wasn't sleeping all that well. So for the moment, like I said, I'm just trudging through life with what I have, and just thankfully that I'm able to get up every day and make it another day in my life.
That's rough.
Yeah, Tom, it is. And
I'm
believe you me, buddy. Oh, Jab. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Well, it's nice to be introduced to you, Jab. Good to know you.
Good to know you too.
How young are you?
20.
Okay. Well, I'm 43 years old, but I've talked to several friends of mine who have had this thing for 15 or 20 years, and they're still moving right along in life and seem to be doing just dandy. So, like I said, for the moment, I'm thankful that I can wake up every morning, plant my 2 feet on the ground, and just keep going. So, like I said, I've been examined by 3 doctors, and all of them have given me different medication. I've taken it. It's made me sick, nauseated. I can't sleep. So I, on my own, just decided to stop taking the medication. I'm back to a good sleeping mode at night. My diet's good. I'm a skinny kid, but I'm like 132 or 133 pounds at the moment. So I've had friends of mine tell me that I look better. I feel pretty good to myself right at the moment. But other than that, I'm doing okay.
Well,
right.
AIDS isn't a death sentence anymore, so it's good that you're doing as good as you're doing. I mean.
Well, and I understand that. I guess to myself, Jab, I don't have AIDS. I have a virus that I contracted with being stupid enough to invite someone that I really didn't know all that well over, and we went and did the tango and had some fun with it, and not realizing that the other person had actually given it to me. Now, whether they knew they had it at the moment that they were, playing the tango with me in my bedroom or whatever, I will never know. I don't really consider myself as an AIDS person. I have a virus that I just cannot get rid of at the moment. But I'm hoping and praying that maybe one day, here in the 21st century, with all the modern technology of medicine, that they will come up with something, or at least find a remedy, if that's the word, to this crap that I've got, and hopefully, I can take something or be given something that will make it disappear. But that's in God's hands right now, and that's who I'm leaving it up to.
Yeah, that's about all you can do at this point. So.
Thanks, Mark. Man, that's awesome of you to share that with us. I think that's very courageous and just very open and honest of you to put that all out, right on for everyone to hear. That's an awesome statement in itself.
Well, I appreciate that, Tom. Thank you very much. Okay, enough of me. The topic, I understand, Thomas, is the separation of church and state. Are we still on that, or have we moved on?
Yeah. No, we never got on it.
We haven't started it yet, Throw out a quick sound clip for everybody in the room. We're glad you're here, and it's nice to be with you.
It's so nice to be with you. I love all the things you say and do.
And I want to invite everybody to call in. If you want to call in, you can call in 347-237-5246. For those of you that are in the chat room, at the top of your page, you'll see a button that says click to talk. And that'll open up a pop-up window, and you got to click OK and accept and connect and type in a name and all this kind of stuff. But you can use click to talk to connect to us if you have a broadband internet connection and hopefully a headset. You can connect to us that way for free. For anyone that might be listening that's not on the website, you can access the website by going to www.tinyurl.com/gaytalk. And at the top of the page, you will see that click to talk option. So anyone can call in. We're hoping for this to be a roundtable discussion with more than just 2 or 3 of us talking. But, we get what we get, and such is life. But anyone can call in at any time and join the conversation. We actually hope more people will. So I guess we ought to get on to the topic that we opened the show with, which is the separation of church and state. And Jab, I'll let you start us off. Go ahead. You're.
Nah, I talk too much. Why don't you start off, and I'll jump in later. It's your show.
Mark, I would offer you next if you want to start us off. I'm the kind, gracious host.
You certainly are, Thomas, and I appreciate that. To my understanding, the separation of church and state go way back to the days of our founding fathers, Thomas Jefferson and James Madison. Mr. Jefferson, to my understanding, did believe in the separation of church and state, whereas state did not have the right or the obligation to be able to tell the church its affairs. I believe in that. I believe that's a true statement, whereas the state is exactly what that is. It is a state government. The church is also a government, but it is a government of religion and beliefs and should not be intertwined with state-controlled programs or anything like that. I believe that no one, and this is my personal view, I believe that no one should be able to tell me what church or what denomination that I need to belong to. That is up to God. And so with that, and that's the way that this country was founded on, I mean, put trust in God, and that's exactly where it is right now. I mean, we have to be able to trust God or a supreme being, whatever, however you believe or whatever you believe in, and you need to be able to factually know right from wrong, morally from, non-morally or whatever. But at the same time, the separation of church and state need to be just that. You need to be able to know that you can freely walk around, whether you're in the United States or in Europe or wherever Canada or Mexico, you can be able to freely walk around and not have a state agency person walk up to you and go, "You're going to this church over here, whether you like it or not." That's nonsense, and that's the way it should be in this country.
All right.
Good.
Atheism, Trill is asking, where does atheism fit into the separation of church and state in that view? Trill, I honestly wish I could be able to answer that question for you. Atheism is a non-belief in God. But my question to you would be, if atheism does exist, then how did you come about being a human being like you are today? If you do not believe in God, you have to believe in something. I mean, that's human nature. You have to be able to believe in something. Like I said, whether it's God or Buddha or a supreme being or an inner spirit that's in yourself, it's, you believe in what you believe in.
Yeah, personally, I want to chime in on that. To me, as far as I'm concerned, atheism is its own religion.
I agree.
So they have their right to their beliefs also, and that is a belief system. Religion is a belief system. Atheism is a belief system, and I think it fits in just fine. If that's their belief, then they have the right to that.
I think you're right. It's a belief system, although I'm pretty sure if you called it a religion, they would yell at you. But as far as I don't think it's a religion, but the thing is, a lot of people think that atheism is the lack of religion, which it's not. It's the lack of belief in God. In fact, I have an uncle who is a Buddhist priest, and he is an atheist. So he is a religious man who is an atheist, because not all sects of Buddhism require the belief in God. So the two are actually compatible. They are not mutually exclusive.
Now let me ask you this, Jab. If he is a Buddhist priest, which I respect, but he doesn't believe in God or doesn't believe in a supreme being, I'm kind of at a loss to say, what is he practicing for then?
I can't answer that because I'm not him. I don't have his belief system and all that. I honestly, you'd have to ask him. I have no idea. Sorry, I can't give you a better answer than that, but that's all I can say.
Right. And I understand that. I mean, there are so many different religions today. I mean, there's Christianity, there's Catholic, there's Buddhist. Gosh, Tom, we're talking the folks from Asia. We're talking the folks from the Middle East. We're talking Americans. We're talking Europeans. So, and like I said, like Jab was indicating, there are plenty of people all the way around the world, but the views that I have always been brought up with is that one day we will all be able to meet our maker or the being that brought us into existence, and we will have to answer for all of the things that we've ever done in our lifetime.
The thing I find really interesting about the separation of church and state, not to totally jump from what you were saying, dude, is how it's abused into forcing people who are in the government to not express religious belief at all. There's this atheist guy who was trying to prevent a pastor from giving the inauguration because he's claiming separation of church and state, blah, blah, blah. You can't say, so help me God at the end of the... But the thing is,
yes.
That's not in the U.S. Constitution. And if you're talking about U.S. law, that is what you have to look forward to, because that is the founding document. It is the document which all of our laws should be based upon. And the only time it mentions that is in the First Amendment, is that Congress shall make no laws respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof.
Yes.
The president-elect saying, so help me God, during, if he chooses to say that, in the inaugural, the inauguration speech, or the pledge, the oath of office, that's it. That is not, that does not constitute establishment of a law. So he has no case whatsoever. He's being loud and annoying for the sole purpose of being loud and annoying.
a lot of people are carrying it a bit far. I mean, it does say, it says on the dollar bill, "In God we trust."
Yeah.
Yes.
That
yes.
does not that does not constitute a law. There's nothing wrong with that. And the other thing I would point out to that guy is that, in fact, the oath of office does not contain the words "So help me God." It is, in fact, that is something that George Washington ad-libbed when he first took it, because, he's starting a new country based on all these crazy ideas. They're not going to have a king. And he's the first president ever. He's establishing all the trends. So at the end, he said, "So help me God." He totally ad-libbed that. That is not technically part of the oath of office.
No. The phrase, I believe, excuse me, Tom. The phrase, I believe, "So help me God," is simply an acknowledgement of being able to ask for assistance or help in the office of which I'm about to take. Does that make sense?
That's pretty much what he was thinking, I'm sure, at the time. What do you think, Tom?
Yep, I'm with you. That I have, that's it. There should be no reason, you get a slippery slope on both sides of this issue, because you got the fanatics on one side. Yeah, you got the fanatics on one side that is like, they're totally against religion, and they don't want anything in any way, shape, or form in the government to have anything to do with religion. And then you got the religious fanatics on the other side that wishes we were a theocracy. So, so it's a slippery slope on both sides of the issue.
That's true, but I would say that I think that it's much more slippery on the secular side, maybe, or maybe that's just because that's where we're leaning to these days, because we've got the ACLU, taking all these lawsuits and making sure they can't have Christmas trees in public buildings and all that. So I think we're more in danger of sliding down one slope than we are the other, at least these days.
Well, see, and just like what Jab was just saying, the simple things like a Christmas tree in an office building needing to be taken out because it represents something from the aspect of Christianity. Some people don't care for it, some people don't like it, some people don't want it. But in this country, we were raised to understand that God given us a understanding of who we are and what we believe in, and a Christmas tree is a symbol, if you want to call it that, is a symbol of a happy-go-lucky period of the year that everyone should just be able to pat you on the back or shake a hand and say, "Hey, it's a great time to be alive." And they want to take that out of the office building and say, "No, we don't want that." And that, to me, that's just plain silliness.
That there's definitely, and don't get me wrong, I am not in favor of a theocracy by any stretch of the imaginations, but it does go way too far on the other side, more so than we're way more in danger of religion becoming extinct in the public eye as opposed to becoming a theocracy, especially today.
Right. Well, Trill was just asking about the teaching of creationism in schools. That idea was, 15, 20 years ago, but how do you begin the creationism of trying to explain to a young child or anyone, you have to be created, or you were created, but then someone higher than you put that into motion for you to be able to be here.
Well, to me, creationism sort of thing is, to me, it's like a, particle physics versus string theory, which is really, to me, the ideas should battle it out, and whichever, has more proof or is more viable should win. But at the same time, am I a proponent of creationism as it would be taught in like schools? Not really. I think that the other points of, I think that the evolutionary look at it has more evidence and whatnot behind it. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that I don't think that it should be, debated amongst scientists. But that does mean, I don't think that it should be taught in schools, not because of separation of church and state. It's because I think that the other side has got more going for it, or at least they've proven their points better.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
There should be equal time, I think. If they're going to teach creationism, fine. Then they should also teach, Darwinism or
and don't get me wrong,
or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, and in a private school, they should be able to teach basically whatever they want because it's private.
It's a private school.
Yeah, if it's a private school, they can teach whatever they want. It's private.
Mm-hmm.
They can, I don't want the government in there. If it were up to me, pretty much all schools would be private, but I don't rule the world yet.
Right.
Yet.
There you go, Thomas. There you go, Thomas. We have a young man here who has got a good thing going there. He's believing in something that he wants to be able to try and do, and I wish him well on that. I really do.
Me too. Yeah, I hope he does get there. It's kind of like, not too long ago I did that show on when I was a kid growing up, and I'm 52 years old, so I graduated high school in 1974, way before Jab's time, and they never taught us. When they taught us in the public school system about the Holocaust, it was all about the Jews as far as what we were taught.
That's correct.
I don't appreciate the fact that these teachers, or our school system, or public school system, I should say, is practicing censorship. That their job as teachers is to throw out all the information. And the fact that they left out any other population being affected by the Holocaust really pisses me off. And I did a show not too long ago about the Holocaust, and to this day I had so many youngsters that contacted me that said, that they hadn't heard, they didn't know, and I was just in shock that here we are, 34, 35 years later, and they're still not teaching that stuff in the schools. They're still practicing censorship, because in my mind, censorship is a form of brainwashing. A teacher's job is to put it all out there.
That's absolutely true. And the Holocaust,
I agree with that.
Yeah, let's be honest. The number one target of the Holocaust was the Jews. That's who Hitler hated the most. That's who he, spent all his time. But there were definitely other victims too. He did not like anybody who wasn't, Aryan. Jews, gypsies, black people, people who didn't agree with his politics, disabled people, retarded people. They were all targets.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's kind of like where I get on this religion thing. If they're going to teach it, then they need to teach the other side too. Maybe in two separate classes, maybe equal time in the same class, whatever. They need to present all sides of the issue and not set preference towards one side over the other. Let the students decide. Give them enough information where they can dig, where their minds and their curiosity will let them dig into this and form their own opinion.
And, but above all, what Hitler really liked was people who were loyal to him and who were efficient because, they thought that it was either von Ribbentrop or one of his other really high-ups was gay, and Hitler knew, but he didn't care because he was really good at his job and he was very loyal to Hitler. Yeah, I think it was the head of the Gestapo, so that's
he actually ended up killing that guy.
He did?
When it all
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, to my understanding, and I have in my lifetime had the opportunity and the honor, and it was a true honor, let me tell you, to actually meet someone who had the numbers tattooed on their arm. And he basically was very sincere, and he goes, we were brainwashed into thinking that Hitler could be able to save the world, and look what he did to us. Well, let me ask you, Jab, because I'm just curious. You're 20 years old. You've probably got, a great life going ahead of you. What gosh, what's the word I'm looking for? What motivated you to shave your head?
Originally, the reason I shaved my head is because I took a very violent form of martial arts called Sansu. And the thing is, in that you can you use anything. It's extremely dirty. It's very dirty fighting. You can grab hair, so I shaved all my hair off, so they couldn't do that anymore. But then they started grabbing my ears, so it didn't work out that well.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I got a knife. You want me to cut your ears off?
No. Who was the artist who did that? The guy who put his ear in a box?
That was Van Gogh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mark, another interesting thing, Mark, that you need to know about Jab, and he's put it out on the channel here before on the room, so he's a virgin. He's a 20-year-old virgin by choice.
Something bothering me a bit.
That's good.
Personally, I think we need to find him a woman because I think sometimes he's a little bit bitter.
Not you too. Damn it, every room I go into, even the politics conservative ones where you'd think they'd be like, oh yeah, he's a virgin, that's great. They're like, dude, you need a woman. I'm like, okay, fine, I see how it is.
Well, all I can tell you, Jab, is basically you will know when the right person comes along in your life because it will be an inner feeling that it will be like snap of a finger. You'll be like, this is the person that I need to be with for the rest of my life. It may take you 6 months, it may take you 6 years, but you will definitely know.
That's what I'm hoping for because, I've heard a lot of, because I'm a very, kind of see it to believe it kind of person. So, I hear a lot of stories about people telling, they see this person and it's like a bolt of lightning. And enough people say it, I'm thinking it might be true or there might be something to it. So,
there's something to it, all right. There is something to it. Oh, yes.
It's happened a couple of times before, but I was, way too young and was dealing with way too much stuff back then for it to ever happen. Because, like I said, I'm 20, so much further back, I'd be, 7.
Wow.
Well, I had that happen to me with my first love, where I saw the light or heard the bells and da-da-da-da-da, and I just thought he was the one, and he wasn't. But, you never know.
Thanks for bringing me down, Tom. You're a friend.
Yeah, anytime. Hey, well, you're usually all the one negative. I got to try to keep the scales balanced here a little bit, throw a little of my own negativity out on you.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
No problem. I hope for the best.
You have to keep in mind, Tom, that Jab is, I guess, to you and I, he's still a youngster, and I say that respectfully to you, Jab. I honestly do. He's still a youngster,
yeah, I
so
get
he
that a lot.
has.
Don't worry about it.
Okay, but he's got his whole life ahead of him, Tom, and in a way, I can kind of relate to that because I think back now that I'm 43 years old. I think back to the times and the days when I myself was 20 years old and I was going into college and I was, the world was mine, so to speak. I could be able to go anywhere, do anything, have a great time, but at the same time, I knew that I had to, buckle my shoes and straighten my pants up and, be able to get an education, because if you go out into the world with absolutely nothing, that's what you're going to end up with, nothing.
There is a lot of truth to that, is that no one's going to live your life for you. No,
sir, they will not.
This is one of the universal principles that I believe truly governs the universe, is that there really is no such thing as a free lunch.
No.
You cannot, if you don't go out and get it yourself, whatever you have, you won't be able to keep because you didn't earn it.
No, you will not. No, I agree with that. Yes. Like my grandparents always taught me, they always used to tell me, boy, you weren't born with a silver spoon in your mouth, so you're going to have to go out and work for it. Tom, did you happen to see, I think I spoke to you about this, did you happen to see the Oprah show with the Reverend on there, which I found rather interesting because I was at work while I was watching it, who was indicating that being gay, and I thought the guy had a brilliant idea behind it, being gay is a gift from God.
Yes, he did. Awesome. That's cool stuff, and God, I don't want to belabor this subject, but I got to tell a little story for those of you that might not have heard my. Back in 1991, many of you know, you've heard me harp on it many times, that I lost a partner to HIV. And, I went into a deep, dark depression for a couple of years after that. And, one day I decided I just had to let go of it, I never sought any kind of therapy or anything, but so I decided my own therapy. When he was in the hospital, we used to fly a kite out on the hospital grounds, this black bat kite. And one time I took that out, and after a couple years of my depression, and I put out about 1,000 feet of string, and I cut that string, and I let that kite go. And it was this one spot that we always went to, and that I often went to before and after. And I went back to that spot a couple weeks later, and just across the street from where I had released the kite. Now, we're talking 1,000 feet. That kite was way up in the air, and it should have went for miles, away. But right across the street, about 100 feet from when I was standing, when I cut that string, there the kite was in the tree.
Oh, wow.
Yep, there it was all torn to shreds and everything, and it was sitting in the tree. I went over there and I climbed that tree, and I got that kite back. And that was a message to me, that he never really left me. And I've since had other messages and psychics that have spoken to him. He's come to me in my dreams, and it's just, it was a message to me, that kite, though, that it was right there 100 feet from where I was when it should have been miles and miles away.
Well, speaking, too, of that movie Powder that you mentioned, anyone who hasn't seen that ought to see it, because I first saw it, and I rented it from Netflix, and I thought, what is this about? I kept looking at the previews. Oh, wow, what an uplifting movie. I had to watch it twice to really grasp what was going on. But that end scene, like you said, with the lightning and all, or the energy, that was something else. Let me ask a question, Tom.
Mm-hmm.
Of Jab and Mark and everybody, because you had mentioned this. How many are either of you familiar with the lockdown that is going on around Washington for the inaugural? What do y'all know about that?
It sounds like Obama's or his team is being a bit overzealous with security, maybe.
It's the CIA doing it. It's the CIA doing it. They decided they were going to be extremely paranoid for this. Those were their own words, and I don't blame them, because I've wondered with Obama, and I was for Obama or Hillary, which a black man or a white woman, I didn't care. I wanted a man or a woman in. This was long before it came about, but no Ku Klux Klan, no big demonstrations during all this with Obama, and I think we're all still afraid that something may happen to him, and I hope not. But we have 5 bridges that go into Washington from Virginia. Those bridges will be closed. Well, some of the things are closing down today for another event that's going on in D.C. But all 5 of those bridges that go from Virginia into Washington, D.C. will be closed at 7 a.m. inaugural day. Now, people from Virginia are upset because they have to get to work, and they're saying either take an early metro because after a certain time they will not run, or get someone to take you to the bridge and walk to work. That's how that is. And
that's a bunch of. I think that's a bunch of crap.
Well, I think that they are being overly protective. I don't think. I guess they may know things that we don't know. I don't know. But
maybe,
yeah.
But at the same time, if it's about people that hate him, I mean, George Bush is one of the most loathed and despised presidents since a long, long time. And he's probably got more people that want to kill him than people want to kill Obama. And there's always going to be people who, have the interest of, offing a president because it suits their means. So I just don't think that this is really necessary. But
well, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, I mean, like I say, Bush is probably in the outer world a nice man, a good father, a good husband. I didn't particularly care for him in the last couple of years as a president. But, yeah, you're absolutely right. How can he go to all these places and not get shot? There he is dancing with the Arabs over there. I don't know if you ever saw that film with him when he was over there with his arms around the Arab shoulder, and he was doing this dance with them. I thought, my God, Bush, what are you doing? But you're right. You are right. It does, yeah, it is. It's never happened in the history of inaugurations here in Washington or for any other thing in Washington, D.C., and it's really making it impossible for a lot of people to even get to work that day.
Yeah, I mean, the president, he's the leader of the United States, but at the same time, he's a servant. His inauguration should not be, so big and huge that it shuts down a frickin' city.
Yeah. Well, and I think they're worried about the 5 million. But I'm worried about these 5 million people who are supposed to be there, but they've got the gates where they're going to check every single person as they go through for things. I think it's 3.5 or 4 miles around the entire Capitol and Mall area that will be closed off. People from Maryland don't have direct access to D.C. Except down New York Avenue. That will be closed off. It literally is a gridlock, is what's going on, and it's minor. I mean, it's exciting in one way, but it is. I think it is too much. It's causing a lot of. What about those people that go in on the metro or walk across? Can't they have guns too?
I think, what I think? I think this is either the CIA or, Obama, like, taking him too seriously as far as, that he's going to get murdered. I mean, he's the president of the frickin' United States. He's got the best security in the world. I mean, there's no reason that they need to go about and do this because it hasn't been necessary for any of the other presidents.
Yeah, absolutely. And the CIA did say on television here in Washington, they said, he said, we have decided to be paranoid about this inauguration, and that's what they're doing. Definitely. So that's what it is here from Washington. I mean, even streets around Arlington, where I live, 5 minutes from Washington, streets that you would go in Arlington to get to another side of Arlington, which happens to be near a bridge, those are closed. It's almost like, I mean, this much wasn't. Huh?
On the CIA's part, that's a horrible choice of words. They
said it.
They need to be vigilant.
But the thing with it, the Pentagon, which is only 5 minutes from me, Jab and Mark and Tom, they didn't do that even when the Pentagon was hit.
No.
Yeah.
No, they didn't.
None of that happened.
No.
So, you put a thought in my mind, Jab. You're absolutely right. I hadn't thought about it that way before. You're absolutely right on that. It doesn't make sense. What else are they thinking? That's what I want to know.
I think that...
you also have to...
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Jab. Go ahead, Jab.
Well, I think that Obama's really playing up the first ever black president thing, and he's going to, make strides of being, the biggest and a really flashy president, for lack of a better term. And I think this is, a way of, sort of asserting his, importance. And, I don't want to sound like I'm assaulting his character, but that's really all I can think of because it hasn't been necessary for any other president.
And remember, Jab, too, he is basically, even though he's the president, he is told, and Michelle also, what to do in a lot of cases. I mean, John Kennedy, I was 16 years old when John Kennedy took office. It was a wonderful thing, big parade, but nothing, no security like that for him. No president has ever had it. I don't think Obama is necessarily behind all this security. It's the CIA, the FBI, it's them. Flashy, yes. I think he's a flashy man. He's a smiling man. He's a personable person. I like that. It's great. One thing I like about Michelle and Obama is that I like the way they show their feelings for each other and on stage. And I hope we see that love a lot, or not love, but those feelings. Because, boy, it'd be nice to see somebody back. You saw that in the White House with Jackie and Jack Kennedy. And it'd be so nice to see that back. And but I think he's got a great. It's nice to see somebody with a smile on their face, and both of them, God knows, have big smiles, and that's what I want to see a lot of. I want to see him do good work, but I want to see that happiness.
You know, like I've said many times on the show, I'm a conservative, and I did not vote for Obama.
Right.
But I will say this: I truly hope he is a good president, because I'd be shooting myself in the foot if I said, "Nah, I hope he crashes and burns." Because I live in the country that he rules over. Well, not rules, he leads, as it were.
Presides.
I want him to do a good job, but I just can't say that I'm holding my breath.
Well, whoever we got in, at the last point with McCain and Taylor and all, I said to them, I liked Obama, I liked Hillary. Hillary's a tough bird, but I said, whoever gets in, all I want them to do is do it for the people. That's all I want. Do something for the people. I don't mean to support. Do for the people. Get things straightened out. The gay rights, all these things. Just be for the people. That's all I wanted. Whoever got in. Luckily, my guy got in, but whoever got in. That's what it's all about, is the people.
Okay, folks, we just got the 90-second warning.
Well, Tom, you shouldn't talk so much.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Before we go off air, let's decide what the next round table is going to be.
It's going to be called Without Chard.
Well, we can decide during the week, but whatever. It doesn't matter to me if y'all want to decide now. We got 60 seconds.
And we need to get a woman in on this.
Well, I've heard. Yes, we need to get a woman in on this.
Yeah, like White
Dove.
But
White
Dove is very good.
Said, socialized medicine, so I think that's a good idea.
Socialized medicine is good. Spirituality is good.
Okay, well, it doesn't matter. We don't have to stick. We'll just put a header topic, and whatever we discuss, we discuss. So next week we'll say the header topic is going to be socialized.
We could have a bunch of them. We could say, all right, topic 1, topic 2, do that kind of thing.
Hey, Tom.
Yes.
And remember, White Dove knows how to stir stuff up. Get her on there.
That's right, White Dove. You need to get here too. 10 seconds. I got to throw out the room love, folks.
Bye, everybody.
I love you, and
bye,
you,
everybody.
And you. Oh, and you too. And don't forget him. I love her, and him, and her, and him, and him, and her. I love you all.
Good day.
Great show. Have a great day.